Hello, folks. My name's Vincent,
And I'm Ina.
and welcome to Solatium, spreading peace, positivity, and solace amongst everyone. This is our first episode. We're very excited. All of us here in the Prism, and especially in the podcast team, we are super excited for the podcast. I can't even believe it. It's like a dream come true, you know? Basically, I'm going to explain how things are going to go. Every episode, we have 3 topics, and at the end of every episode, we have a positive message to leave you to dwell on. So, you want to start our first topic?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to talk about how we were recruited to this podcast first to give the audience a sense of like welcomeness, I guess?
I guess we could go, you tell your story and I tell my story.
Yours is more interesting.
All right, so should I go first?
Yes.
All right, I'll try to summarize this because I talk a lot. So basically, the editor-in-chief of the Paulinian Prism, my dear friend Miguel, we talk a lot about school, about movies, TV shows, everything in the books. And one night we were just having a random conversation, and I was like, yo, we should make a podcast out of this. This could be an interesting topic for a podcast. Funnily enough, I don't really remember what we talked about. So, yeah, we were talking about making a podcast, and then a few weeks later, he came up to me and he says, yo, I'm the editor-in-chief of the Paulinian Prism. I can't believe this is happening. And I say, immediately, the first thing I say is, podcast. We need to make it. So a couple months later, we're here. Podcast happened, and for my end of the story, it was just instant. You know, Nobody asked me. Nobody told me. I was just in the podcast already.
That's amazing. Now, well, in my case, it was so random. Miguel messaged me in the middle of the night. He was like, hey, do you want to be in a podcast or something? And I thought he was joking, but like I already said yes after 3 seconds. I was like, yeah. And then he told me I had a co-host. And I was like, a co-host? Is it you or something? And then he was like, no, it's Vincent. And I was like, heck yeah, that's going to be so exciting. You know, I never really thought that we were going to be able to have a podcast because he's already doing a lot. So I'm pretty happy that I'm included in this project that he made. So yeah, that's it. That's my little mini story time.
Also, just one thing to mention: we got to give a huge thank you to Miguel because he's putting in the hours, he's putting in the work, doing
Yeah.
so much for everybody. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't make it through 11th grade without that guy. So yeah, thank you, Miguel. And also, one thing to notice: you said you're gonna have on your end when you were told that you're gonna have a co-host, and you were like, "Who is it? Who is it?" When they said Vincent, what was your reaction? Like, what was your initial thought?
I was excited because you have such a great voice and you know how to converse with like anybody. So pretty nice.
On on my end of the story, it was very different. When Miguel told it, I have nothing against you, all right? I have nothing against you. Miguel told me, hey, your co-host is gonna be Ina, and I said, I don't know anything about her. Like, I've met your twin sister. We were classmates in
Yeah.
10th grade, and then I've seen like little bits and pieces. I've seen little bits and pieces of you in what section were you? I'm sorry, I can't remember. In 10th grade.
It's me, Saint Dominic.
Oh yeah, I've seen little bits and pieces of you. Like in the cafeteria, walking around. And I was thinking to myself, oh my goodness, it's gonna be so awkward. And then, because like it's like putting a guy from two people from opposite ends of the world. So
Yeah.
I was worried. And then we started talking more through like different school projects and just generally talking as friends. I started to get a sense of, okay, this is who this person is. This person's pretty chill, pretty cool. And then I was thinking, like, well, that would be a great dynamic. Like, one of us is like this crazy spastic person. That's not you, obviously. Just kidding, it's you. One of us is like that unpredictable guy who will just say something crazy, out of the world, extraordinary, and then the other one is like this more, more reserved, more formal. The smart one.
The
I hope
smart
that.
one.
Yeah, that's how I saw you.
Okay.
That's how. Hopefully, that's what you are like. You're like in real life. But yeah, I was thinking to myself, that's a great dynamic for a podcast. Like it would be over the top if we were both like crazy and over the top, and it would be so boring if we were both like, all right, today we are talking about the news. It would be so weird. Coming up with topics was super fun as well. We're going to be having 2 episodes per month, but unfortunately, because we started mid-November, we're only going to have 1 episode for November. But don't worry, we have a couple episodes coming up in December, and basically, actually, no, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's very secretive here in the Prism. Working with the Prism is like working for like, what's it called? Charlie's Angels. Do you know that movie or show?
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, it's kind of like working for Charlie. Who is Charlie?
No one knows.
I never knew who Charlie was. I'm pretty sure like Charlie. The Angels are obviously the three main characters, but I never knew who Charlie was. Maybe Charlie was the guy in charge. I guess we're
Yes.
Miguel's Angels. We're Miguel's Angels.
Miguel's Angels.
The dynamic duo. All right, I'm pretty sure there's a couple things we missed, but nothing too big. So another topic we had in mind for the first episode is the whole Taylor Swift news. And I will admit, listeners of the podcast, please do not be angry. I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan, but I do know a couple songs. I do know a couple Taylor Swift songs. My sister is a huge fan. I'm pretty sure she knows every single song, every lyric, every single note of every song. She knows it. And Ina, you're gonna take the lead on this one.
All right. So a bunch of people know who Taylor Swift is. And if you are updated on what's going on with her, you'll notice that she's re-releasing a couple of her albums from like a couple of years ago. And you'll see the song title, and then followed by that, it's Taylor's version. You're probably wondering why she's doing that. Well, today, that's what I'm going to tell ya. Basically, to make it short, she's reclaiming her record rights since her previous record label didn't treat her correctly. Record labels aren't at all bad. They exist for a reason, for artists to flourish and be well known by many. They manufacture, distribute, and promote musicians. They basically sell the artist, and they have contracts wherein they all have the rights to the musician's songs, which is weird because you probably think that, all the artists owns everything that they put out there, right? What's wrong with most record labels is that they can make decisions without the artist knowing. As she said in an Instagram post, artists should own their own work for so many reasons, and she is definitely, without any doubt, correct. Most artists have been abused by their previous record labels who just release new music with like a new record label, but she is different. She is re-releasing every song in the album. So that's about it. Recently, she released a short film on YouTube. It's like a 10-minute version of her song All Too Well. And it received so many positive reviews from everybody. One of the reasons why we're talking about Taylor Swift right now is because she was suggested to us that we talk about her. So, yeah, she has re-released 2 albums. I believe it's Red and Fearless. And then she will be releasing another album quite soon. And actually, I think she released a music video today. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, her issue is with a record label. And up until now, a lot of artists are being abused by record label. So I think her doing this would be like a stepping stone for a bunch of artists. So I think that's very nice for her to do. And yeah, that's Taylor Swift for ya. What do you think, Vincent?
I've never been in that position, and I'm very lucky to have never been in that position. Um, some people know this, but I don't really claim to be a musician. I'm not claiming to be some musical genius. I play guitar for fun. I don't do it for competitions
You're
or
good though.
yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I just play for fun, and I think in ninth grade was the very first Himig Bolenyo event, and I wrote a song. Me and oh my goodness, oh no, my memory is failing me. Um, I'm sure I'll remember this later on down the line, but me and somebody else, we wrote a song called Troubles, and it was about religion and depression, and just in general how religion can lift you up, uplift your spirits. If you're feeling down, just sitting down and praying could be that one thing that makes you feel better that day or makes your day better. And we had complete creative freedom. I remember our English teacher, he said, anything and everything you want, you can put it in that song. And we were just, all the songwriters in the classroom, we were overfilled with joy because whoa, we can do anything. Obviously, there are some limitations. We can't make a 3-hour song, but me and the other person, I'm so sorry, I cannot remember their name for anything. Um, we wrote that song and we had complete creative freedom, and we submitted the lyrics and then a little draft, or not a demo, I guess you could call it. We played a demo in front of our English teacher, and he said, I like it. And on that day that we showed him that demo, he said, you know what, for our class's closing prayer, I want Vincent's group to perform. So we did that because, like I said, it was about religion. So, and it kind of basically, for that school year, it became the closing and opening prayer of like every event.
That is so
And
nice.
yeah, so I basically became a little celebrity for a little while. And then the next year, people forgot I existed.
Oh no.
And yeah, but like I said, I'm not really a big Taylor Swift fan, but I understand like what that would feel like.
Yeah.
So imagine painting a beautiful painting. What else would you paint? Imagine painting a beautiful portrait. Let's
Yeah.
just say, who was the one who painted Mona Lisa? Was
Da
it?
Vinci.
Yeah, imagine Da Vinci had a record label for his paintings, Da Vinci Studios. Imagine he had his own little manager, painted Mona Lisa, and then the guy says, "You know what?" Or no, he shows everyone the painting,
Yeah.
everyone loves it, but then the big men up top, they say, "You know what? You know what this painting is missing? Missing a horse in the background." And then they hire someone else to paint a horse in the background. That could make or break your work.
Yeah.
So I could just imagine like what she's going through, you know, and it's just something really upsetting,
Yeah.
for the creative minds to be suppressed. You should never suppress a creative mind, because creative minds are the biggest types of minds. All right.
At least she's reclaiming all her rights.
Yeah,
It's a little happy ending.
yeah. That's the cool thing. It's not just a story of tragedy. It has a happy ending to it. She's standing up for what's right,
Yeah.
and that's what's important. Our third topic for today's episode is quite disturbing. So a little warning: if you are sensitive to this type of material, to this subject matter, it is completely understandable if you do not want to listen, or you do not want to even just know about this. So a little warning to the listeners out there. The Travis Scott incident at the Astroworld Festival, is it? Or was
Yes,
it
I
a...
think.
Oh, yeah. It was a festival. Um, The reports say around 8 people have unfortunately lost their lives in that incident, and something I read today. In fact, right before recording the podcast, I was sitting down with you and Miguel, and a 9-year-old boy was trampled to death, and I just I don't know what to say, honestly. It's heartbreaking, especially for the families who had to receive the news. When I was 9 years old, I was just riding my bike, playing in the sand at the beach or whatever, and and I'm just really, my brain is looking for words, but my mouth isn't cooperating. It's just so tragic.
Exactly.
The medical term for the cause of death, I guess that's the right word. The medical term is crowd crush. It's basically where your body is surrounded by multiple other bodies, and because of the friction, because of the heat, because of the pressure, you get asphyxiated and eventually suffocate to death, which is just a horrific thing to even just think about it. For me, like sitting on the bus or on the train, especially where your shoulders are touching other people, that's already uncomfortable for me. So just imagine what those people have to go through, and my heart goes out to their families.
It's unbelievable, right? Because like when you go to concerts, you're supposed to have fun like that, and I think that the people there too expected that, and it's just horrible that they have to go through that.
Yeah, and just a quick little thing to say. Travis Scott, the artist performing at the time of the horrible event, he released an apology video, which was very disappointing. It
Very
was.
disappointing.
It felt like they weren't even his words, and he was saying things like, one of the things he said in the video that just really, really got on my nerves was he had no idea what was going on. There was an ambulance in the crowd, and people were dancing on top of the ambulance. How do you not notice that? Right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you not see that thing? And it's an ambulance. It's got lights. It's got the siren. How do you not notice that? And it's just really disappointing. It could have been easily avoided with either Travis himself would just say, sorry, the show's over. Honestly, that's way better than having this tragedy. Or the event organizers could have organized it better, spacing, and it's just such a heartbreaking thing to talk about.
The poor management of his whole crew is just unbelievable. I saw a couple of videos online of them, the crowd chanting "Stop the show" because a couple of people were injured or not breathing anymore, and it's just like he kept on going. People were shouting at him to stop, and he just kept on going, and it's just disappointing because it appears that he doesn't care about his fans at all.
And the whole thing with the I have no idea what to call this because it's just such a horrific thing. The tragedy, the whole thing with the tragedy is there's a video online of people lifting up, unfortunately, a deceased body. They are lifting a corpse to get it to safety or to get it to an ambulance, and he was dancing and singing, and he was like that ignorant, and it's just a horrible thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it. But like I said earlier, we're going to end the episode on a positive note. We cannot leave you with a frown on your face. You have to leave this podcast with a smile. So for this episode's positive message or positive note, we're still thinking on the name of that. But for today's message, it is stay with your family, have fun with them. Unfortunately, people don't stay forever. So while you can, go up to your family, give them a hug, give them a kiss, embrace them, hug them, hold on to them tight, and just spread love. Spread lots of love, because honestly, I don't mean to sound like a hippie, all right, but spread the love, That's all the world needs right now. yeah, that was a pretty good first episode. What do you think?
Pretty good. Except for like what we talked about. I think it's a contrast
Well,
between like being serious and just, talking. So that was pretty fun. I think it's successful. What do you think?
um, I think I'm having lots of fun right now, with the podcast. I mean, and I can't wait to record the next episode, which is coming next month. And just sit tight, and just patiently wait for the next episode of
Yeah.
Solatium. So, thank you for listening to Solatium. Yet again, I'm Vincent Reyes.
And I'm Ina. I hope you learned something new today. Don't forget to take care of yourself, stay safe, and be kind.
Love and light.